So what if I told you that, what if all of the Fate timelines were mixed into one? That would mean that all the heroic spirits and certain said characters throughout the series of all these different games were mixed into one timeline, and you had to where a character was trying to save history or save humanity. How would you feel about that? Well, that's exactly what Fate Grand Order is, and I honestly didn't know really nothing about this. Before I even started, when I sat down to watch Fate Grand Order, I had no idea what it was going to be about, because I've not played the game, so I don't really know what the plot was or anything about it. So when I sat down and watched it this morning, I'm just, watching because it's Fate. I mean, I'm a big Fate fan. I love the Multiverse. I love Type Moon, so I wanted to watch anything Fate related. So I sat down, I gave it a watch, and oh my god, was I surprised. I was surprised with all the different characters that I saw from Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night in this episode, or this OVA. I was just so surprised to see it, because I'm like, okay, so I'm seeing references to Fate Zero, I'm seeing references to Fate Stay Night, I could have swore I saw some stuff to Fate Khalid as well, and then also some other games too that, is attached to the Multiverse. So I'm like, whoa. Whoa, because there was just so many references and so many things to other series throughout this, OVA episode. I'm like, damn, like, what is going on? Because the timeline thing, just mixing all of the Type Moon, Fate universes together, it's pretty cool. I really like the, I guess the plot design of that. I just like the way the plot is done with this, because, I mean, this is one of the things I've always wanted to see in, the Multiverse, or in Fate in general, while watching the series or playing the games, was to see some of these heroic spirits from, previous games, for instance, Fate Zero, from, that series, to also, maybe, Fate Stay Night, and seeing, these two characters, mesh together, and just see how they would, intermingle with each other, or seeing other, Fate games and stuff, and seeing these, servants or characters, messing with the characters from Fate Stay Night. That's kind of what I've always wanted to see, and then now seeing it in this series, I'm like, bro, this is pretty badass. This is really, really badass. Okay, so if you were unaware, it is a great year to start off for fans of Type Moon / Multiverse and Fate in general. If you don't know about Type Moon or Multiverse, it's a great year for Fate fans, because there's just so much Fate-related news that has came out these past couple days, to, the Heavensfield preview trailer, finally more footage to that, to more Fate games finally getting an anime adaptation, to Last Encore. Just so many Fate-related news articles coming out recently these past couple days that, I mean, if you're a Fate fan, you're just gonna be like, yo, this is so good, it's such a good year. And so, I mean, as you all know, I think everybody is very, very well aware how much I love Fate, and now seeing how all this news is coming out, and all that Heavensfield this year, to now, this OVA that just came out, Grand Order, I'm like, damn, this is really awesome to start 2017 off. And so, if you're unaware, there's a bunch of articles out that came on Anime News Network about, all this information on Fate. But getting past that, though, let's talk about what this is about. So many are going to come in and asking, can I watch this without seeing the previous? For instance, can I start here? Can I start with, Fate Grand Order and, not have to watch, Fate Zero or Fate Stay Night or even play the games? To be honest with you, I don't think so. If, at the minimum understanding I think someone needs to know, if you're going to try to watch this, you at the very least, I think, need to know about Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. That's the very minimum information I think you need, because personally, I've only played Fate Stay Night and watched the series, and, I've watched Fate Zero. I haven't seen the other games of the Fate series. I personally haven't, so I don't know all the other things going on in all those other games. I know some games, some stuff about the other games, but I mean, I don't know the entirety of all the plot points and stuff like that. So, personally, I was able to understand the, episode, this OVA episode of Grand Order completely fine. There was a lot of references to Fate Zero, there's a lot of references to Fate Stay Night, a lot of characters from them that came into this OVA episode, and so I would have to say that overall, if you want to have the minimum understanding of this OVA movie of Fate Grand Order, you need to watch Fate Zero, and you at the very least need to watch Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. There is a spoilers for Heavensfield in, Grand Order. I will admit there is definitely some slight spoilers. However, I do not think anime-onlys that have not played the game or haven't watched the movie yet that's later to come out this year will really understand the spoilers that were in this OVA episode. I mean, you might kind of understand what I'm talking about, but you won't get the full grasp of it unless it's pointed out and stuff. So I don't feel like there's much to really worry about, so to say, about anyone that if you were to watch this and haven't seen Heaven's Feel yet. I feel like you'd be completely fine. But there will be some things you'll be questioning about, like, okay, what was this? What was that? What was that supposed to mean? But overall, though, you won't understand the context of it, so it's not like it's spoiling Heaven's Feel, if you understand my point of view on that. Now, that's my personal point of view. Anyways, with that being said, though, there is new characters, and these new characters are tasked with saving humanity from its ending. And so this organization is tasked with saving humanity and fixing these certain problems throughout history, going back and going to these singularities and trying to fix them. And so that's kind of the main point of, the series, Fate Grand Order, to where these characters, they're sent to the past to fix these certain parts of throughout history that is getting fucked up, and then making it to where humanity actually can exist. And when I was watching the OVA movie, I was like, this reminds me a lot of the Counterforce. Now, if you're unaware, if you've never watched, Unlimited Blade Works, or if you haven't watched Karno Kyokai, or if you haven't played the games, you might not understand what a Counter Guardian is, or the Counterforce, but you shouldn't be watching Fate Grand Order if you don't know what the Counterforce is, or the Counter Guardians. But when I was seeing this organization, they were trying to save humanity, they were tasked with going back in the past, different timelines and stuff, I'm like, this reminds me a lot of the Counterforce. I'm like, holy fuck, it really does. It's like if the Counterforce became an entity that was, constantly showing itself, it constantly letting us see, humans trying to save the day and stuff and all that. I'm like, yo, this is pretty cool, and how they're going back in timelines using technology to save them. I was like, this reminds me a lot of what that is, the Counterforce. And I mean, also seeing Archer in, this episode, I'm like, so Counter Guardians are apparently a part of this. So Counter Guardians, Counterforce possibly, and then I'm like, I mean, on top of that, with these other different heroic spirits being shown, it's a likely possibility all the certain little details about the universe of Type Moon and the Nasuverse is probably in this show, probably in this series in general. So that would mean all these little things throughout, probably Karno Kyokai, to Fate Khalid, to, the Fate Stay Night series, to Fate Zero, to Fate Last Encore, to, all the other Fates, all the other Fate games and stuff, or the light novels, all that. I'm willing to bet you right now that all the different little details of the world and stuff, or the different timelines, might play a huge part in, Fate Grand Order, because since they're mixing all the timelines. So I'm really interested in seeing more of this, and to be honest with you, I'm unaware if there's actually going to be a continuation of Fate Grand Order. I mean, I've been busy for the holidays recently. I've seen a lot of the major articles for Fate, but I mean, I haven't really seen if there's going to be a continuation of Fate Grand Order. I don't know if this is just going to be like the, OVA prologue just to kind of tease you to buy the game, or if it's just something like, oh, this is here, we'll come out with more later on down the road. So I have no idea. I don't have any idea if there's going to be a continuation of Fate Grand Order in terms of anime-wise, but there is a game. And I mean, I'm going to assume this is most likely advertisement for Fate Grand Order, because I mean, it is based off of a game, and this was apparently adapted the entire prologue. Like, the entire prologue of Fate Grand Order was adapted for this OVA. So this wasn't even like the story, like the middle of the story, even the first chapter. This was the prologue. That's exactly what this was. That's exactly what Fate Grand Order was. Like this OVA, it was the prologue of that game. So it wasn't even the full story. We just got to see the beginning. So when you're looking at the way the content was kind of given to us while we were watching this, it kind of makes a lot more sense now that it was just a prologue. It was just showing us details of what to expect from the future of, let's say, the game. If we were playing the game, it's letting us know what will happen in the future while we're playing the game and what we can come to expect. And so it kind of explains why some of the fights may have seemed a little bit faster than normal, or why some of the plot points were just more of exposition than anything else. It was just because it was just a prologue, and then it'll finally get into some crazy stuff later on down the road, maybe in the game. So, right at this time, though, I do say Fate Grand Order, it's a good OVA, but it's definitely not perfect. I'm just going to be point-blank honest with all of you. It's a great OVA, not perfect. And the reason why I say this is because of the main male character, and even the main female character. Now, I'm not saying they ruin the OVA. I'm just saying the characters so far, since this is a prologue, we don't need to expect, like, holy crap, crazy characterization and an amazing, well-written character in the prologue. You shouldn't expect that. That's what the journey is for in any series. You have the journey with the character starting off, and when you see how much he changes while, the series continues on, being written. And that's exactly what we could expect from probably this series. So I shouldn't expect, the characters to be fucking fully developed and crazy. But I do say, however, when it comes to the beginning starting point of these two characters, they're definitely not my favorite type of characters. My personal preference on that, because, the main male character that is tasked with being the master, he doesn't really stand out to me, honestly. He doesn't really stand out in terms of design to the way his personality is. He seems very generic. He does. And the main female character, personally, I do like her design. I, however, do like her design. I do like the haircut and stuff. Reminds me a lot of Rim, by the way. And, I do like it. But, overall, her personality is nothing special. There's nothing so far I'm seeing from her that really stands out. However, I do like the heroic spirit. Like the Shielder, I think. I think Shielder. I do like heroic spirit in the class she's a part of. Shielder, being able to use a shield and stuff. I like that design. I like the design she is when she's heroic spirit. But overall, though, when it comes to the personalities or the characters so far, not the biggest fan of them. But, there's a potential possibility they can become very good characters depending on where the story goes. Right now, like I said, this is the prologue that was adapted. It's not chapter 1, it's not chapter 2, it's not chapter 5, it's not the epilogue. This is the prologue that was adapted. So the characters are obviously not completely developed, but still, at this time though, not my personal favorite set of characters. Now, getting past that, let's talk about also the main character and how, throughout the journey of this OVA, there was some plot armor that was used. I will admit, towards the end of, the episode of the OVA, the main character, he has some insane plot armor, how he was able to help out Shielder and, Mashu, get over there, save her and all that, and help out against Saber. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, how did this man do that against, Saber? Like, yo, what? It was like, yo. And I noticed that the way that scene was done, I felt like it probably might have been translated better. I could be wrong about this, but I felt like there was something wrong with the translations there, because the way the main character, when he put his hand on Mashu and he saw the command seal disappear, I assumed that there had to be something going on with the translations there, because the way he went about it, and he's like, I believe in you, I felt like that could have been worded differently. I don't know, that might just be me, but the way he used his command seal, and as we know, command seals, if you've watched Fate Stay Night, or if you played the games in Fate Zero, command seals have crazy amount of magical power in them, and so you can do some crazy things with that, and so him commanding her to do something might explain how they were able to overcome, Saber. But overall, though, I felt like the wording in that scene was a little bit off. I don't know if that's just me. I want to ask all of you, if anyone actually knows the translation and can actually, understand that, tell me if that translation was off or not. So please let me know in the comments below. So regardless of that, let's talk about my boy Ku. So Lancer. Most of you might know this man by Lancer from Fate Stay Night. He's in the Fate Stay Night, the Fate route, he's in Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works route, and he's also in Fate Stay Night's Heaven's Feel route. He is Lancer. He is the man that fought Archer. He's the man that fought Saber. He's the man with the blue hair, the big-ass red lance. He is a badass, okay? He's a fucking badass. He is probably one of my personal favorite characters in the entirety of the Fate series, besides Archer and Gilgamesh, of course. He's probably one of my personal favorites, just because of just his style. And if you know anything about Fate, you should know that Lancers are completely unlucky. Being a Lancer is suffering. That is just the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about a Lancer. And seeing this man, Ku, actually not being a Lancer, but a caster, and going in and wrecking, I'm like, yo, this man doesn't have his unlucky nature of being a fucking Lancer. I can finally see my man actually survive, instead of fucking dying because he's a Lancer. I'm like, yes, his luck stat is not shit. His luck stat is not shit. He actually can survive for once. So seeing my boy Lancer being a bro still, not being crusty, but also just keeping his mentality as a Lancer, but not dying as a Lancer, I'm like, that's good. That's fucking good. That's fucking good. So yeah, my boy Lancer being the caster and all that, just like, that was definitely a great sight to see in this OVA, just seeing him going in and fighting against Archer. Yo, that was so good, seeing Archer and Caster, which Lancer or Ku, depending on whatever name you want to attach to him, just seeing this man go up against Archer, freaking Archer, and fight him and all that, that was badass. Now, besides all of this, though, there is something I do need to take note of, and that is the animation and the art quality. As we all know, this is not studio photable. It is not. And I think many are going to probably come into watching Fate Grand Order and expecting the exact same animation quality as a Photable does. And I don't think we should really expect that. Photable, they don't have all the Fate series. I mean, there's a lot of Fate series coming out this year that are not being done by Studio Photable. They're not. And I feel like many are going to walk in and start trying to watch this series, and it's not going to be to their expectations in terms of animation and art quality, because it's not Studio Photable. And I do admit, while watching the OVA, there was a little bit of derps here and there. There was some art drops and all that. Animation looked fine to me. The animation looked fine, but there was some art derps. And some of the CGI, especially to the Wicker Man and all that, could have been a little bit better. But that is, I guess, something we gotta get used to, because not all anime, or all Fate is, you know, animated by Studio Photable, so when you think about it like that, it makes sense. So, if you can look past the art and animation not living up to the standards of maybe what we've seen from Fate Zero or Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, you will find a very good story in Fate Grand Order. I personally enjoyed it. It's not the best I've ever seen from the Fate series, especially with terms of the beginning, but it's still very enjoyable. And I mean, if you're a Fate fan, if you love, you know, Type Moon and the Nasuverse, I feel like you're going to enjoy this little short 1-hour OVA. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you all feel about this episode of Fate Grand Order? Do you want more? Do you want to play the game after watching this? Please let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.